talk to me about how you decided to go from the entrepreneur side. How did you know you wanted to be an investor?
Well, I didn't necessarily. All this just kind of happened, right? I never planned to be a serial entrepreneur. I never planned for a lot of things. It just kind of one thing led to another. But as an entrepreneur, I feel really passionate about two things in this middle quarter of the U.S. and specifically here in Indiana. And Matt's going to get bored because he's heard this story 1,000 times. But we set out to try to solve two pain points, and that is there's a really bad investment banking infrastructure in the middle quarter of the U.S. when it comes to specifically technology. All the technology bankers sit in New York or San Francisco. They're doing all the sexy deals that we see on the evening news. I mean, how beautiful is it that the news does free commercials for Apple every night, right? So that's one pain point, and I'll come back to what I mean by that in a second. And the second thing was we have no centralized pool of capital here in the middle corridor, and specifically in Indianapolis. And I'm not talking about $5 million, $10 million, $20 million pots of money. I'm talking about $100 million substantial upscale funds that have the wherewithal to invest in companies throughout their life cycle. So if you look at the last 10 years, we've exported, run all these numbers 100 ways, we've exported like $6 billion plus of wealth out of this state. And so everybody here in this room is doing a lot of hard work starting up companies. And if you have a decent idea, you've got some relationships, you can raise a few $100,000 or $500,000, maybe $1 million. But once you get out of the gate, and you now really have to power down additional development work or sales and marketing, entrepreneurs run around and try to raise money at 50, 100 grand at a time, and it's extremely distractive. Spend 24 months or something trying to raise $1.5 million, and meanwhile the competitors on the coast pull in $3 million, $5 million, $7 million pots of money from their VCs down the road, and they are just crushing it, right? And so we, as a community, tend to invest in the stages of capital, seed, early, growth, late. So we spend all of our time and effort investing in seed and early stage, but we do not, literally a dollar, we do not invest in the growth stage of companies here. That is where the risk-adjusted returns are created. That is where the wealth is created. And so we have to change that if we're going to see the same difference. When I started my first company here in '97, this right here did not exist. This community was extremely fragmented, even from an idea sharing, the developer towns, the Verges, all these things we have going on nowadays. I can't imagine if I was in some of your shoes in the mid-20s or early 20s, starting businesses with this environment. That's exciting. But now we have an obligation as a community to pool our capital and take control of our own destiny, so that all those risks that are taken with all these bets, and then when we have a winner pop out, I'm not saying we displace the VCs on the East and West Coast, which is most of the East Coast right now, but we should participate with them. So all of our recent big winners that we've had over the last 5 years, that growth stage of investment, that wealth is exported straight back out to the East or West Coast, and those additional pools of capital are not a focus for investing in our next winners here in this city or in this state. So those are the two pain points. Sorry to be long-winded, but I'm very passionate about this problem that we've got to fix. And so that's why we founded Navidar, was to solve those two pain points.